Hello, everybody. Um, I have entirely forgotten how to add someone. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Gianna. So let's see. Gianna should be joining us. Yay.
Hey.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So it's like 5 p.m. for me, middle of the day for
Yes.
you, right? You sent me my favorite text to get from a fighter. I'm just eating my lunch really quickly and then I'll be on.
I know. Just
Yeah.
constantly. I'm always just eating really quickly.
Well, as long as you're eating, I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Exactly.
So, how are you? I just want to just chat to you. Let's just go like way back to when did you even start martial arts? Because I know you're a woman with many martial arts. So you're obviously undefeated on your feet, but you're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And you have your first MMA fight. Hopefully, let's not jinx
Yeah.
it
I
because I
know,
know
right?
that's
Right.
gonna go crap.
Yeah.
Start me back to the very beginning.
Yeah. So,
Is your microphone gone off there, Jen, or can everybody else hear you? Yeah,
oh wait, did I press mute?
you're
You can
back
hear me
there.
now? Okay. Cool. Sorry.
Muted you.
Um. So I think back in 2017, I was actually like kind of like I did sports in like high school, and I was like a runner for a little while, and I did a couple marathons, and then I was like bored of it. So I really wanted to try and get into boxing. And I didn't even like know what Muay Thai was or jiu-jitsu really. My friend I signed up for some class at it was like one of those classes where there's a bunch of bags in the room and like someone's yelling at you on a
Yeah.
microphone to like hit it. Yeah. So I did that and I was like, this is kind of cool, but like I want to do something more, I don't know, like more real, I
Yeah.
guess. And then a friend of mine had a friend who had recently opened a Muay Thai gym and wanted me to check it out with him. So I went and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I want to do.
Brilliant.
Kickboxing, cool.
Yeah.
So I signed up immediately and then I was doing Muay Thai for maybe like a month or two, and then my teammates there just kind of like kept giving me crap for like not staying for jiu-jitsu after Muay Thai. So I kind of just got like pressured into doing it, and I didn't really want to do it because I was like, ew, it's gross, like rolling around. But when I started doing it, I fell in love with it. So 6 years later, I'm
Yeah.
still doing it.
It's brilliant. It's kind of similar to my story that I was a teenager and we were starting a project in school and my friends were going to a kickboxing class and I was like, okay, well, I'll go with the girls. And then I loved it. They didn't. They didn't stick
Oh,
around too
really?
long. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But then you got the itch to start fighting then,
Yeah.
competing.
Yeah. So I did it. I've been training for like 6 years. I started competing in jiu-jitsu before I started in Muay Thai. I think I started competing in jiu-jitsu pretty immediately, like when I was a white belt. So that was like less intimidating to me than
Mhm.
Muay Thai
Yeah.
because I don't know, Muay Thai just felt like it's like you're having a fight, like it's not like a
Yeah.
tournament style. So it was a little more intimidating. So I think that's why I kind of waited a little longer to compete in that. So I started competing in Muay Thai in 2021. So it's been, almost 3 years now.
Yeah. And you haven't dropped a fight.
Nope,
So
not
very
yet. Knock on wood.
undefeated. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, with the jiu-jitsu thing, I agree because I call jiu-jitsu my
Yeah.
retirement martial art because basically, like after I had babies and stuff, and I was like, I can't train as much as I need to train to be having people kick me in the head.
Yeah.
But in jiu-jitsu, I feel like I can show up and not be fit and just tap. I can just look after myself, and it's still quite punishing on the body, but I think it's less dangerous. So I feel like I'll be doing jiu-jitsu forevermore.
Yeah, totally. I know. I kind of feel the same way. Like once I'm like coming to my senses and I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't get hit in the head anymore, then I'll probably just only compete in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, yeah. But it's great. Even the Euros is going on at the minute and all the Masters divisions. It's so good. It's so
Yeah.
inspiring. Um, but yeah, so then so you've done your first uh Thai boxing, Thai fight. For your jiu-jitsu fights, did you cut weight? Did you just go in at what you weighed?
Yeah, I just went in at what I weighed. I didn't even really like know much about weight. Like I didn't really
Yeah.
know even what weight cutting was.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I was just kind of competing at my walk around weight. And I still do that for jiu-jitsu really. I don't typically like cut weight really for unless it's like a couple pounds, you know, just a
Yeah.
couple pounds. But yeah, I just did my walk around weight. There was one time where I actually remember I think it might have been right before I got my blue belt. I did cut some weight because I was a little, I don't know, I had gotten a little heavier, and I think I was doing like 138 and I was like 143 or something. And it was horrible. I did it so wrong. Like I just like didn't eat like that whole week and like didn't drink like 24 hours before. And then I weighed in and then I had to compete right away. Like it's not like I had time to recover, and I lost. Yeah. And I think up until that point I was like had a good winning streak, and then I was just like so weak during that
Yeah.
tournament, and I was like, oh, I guess I shouldn't do this.
Yeah. But it's a mindset shift, because I obviously came in via kickboxing and then MMA and then jiu-jitsu. So I was like, okay, so I could probably compete like I'm thinking I would do my MMA weight in jiu-jitsu in the gi. And I was like, this makes no sense to me. And thankfully I had the wherewithal to not do that. But it's a big battle I have with people to not cut for jiu-jitsu. Like you said, if you have a couple of pounds, or I always call it like the weight of the gi, everybody's like,
Yeah.
oh Jesus, I've got the weight of the gi to go. And you can tidy up for a couple of weeks and do a bit of fight week manipulation stuff for that without affecting your performance. But it's a big difference between then when you have a weigh-in that you can actually recover from before you compete. You can push it a bit harder. So yeah, I wanted to chat. So when you came to me, I think it was last summer, maybe, was it? We got going.
Yeah, it was like,
and
almost a year.
Yeah, you were you were brilliant, because you came to me and you were like, well, usually this far out I weigh this, and usually this far out I weigh this, and you had all the data, and I love data, so I was like, this is amazing. But then obviously I was trying to get you to eat a bit more, and you're like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm normally this way now, and blah blah blah. But my favorite part about you then was, I was like, Gianna, I'd like you to eat in the morning. And I was like, start small, start with a little bit of fruit, because you were like doing a morning session on empty. And I was like, start with a little bit of dried fruit for me and we'll work on it. And then within a week you were like, yeah, I'm having meat and eggs and I'm not going back.
Yeah, no. And I haven't. It was amazing. Like yeah, I mean, like you said, I literally, like I was training, I was lifting and running, like no food in me at all. And, you know, I just didn't even realize how, like, I don't want to say weak, but like, I guess how much the food helps me now, like fuel my workouts. Like I'm so much, like I'm lifting heavier, like I'm able to run more without like getting tired. I don't know. It's just, it's been a complete game changer for me.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different. I think if people think I'm in camp, I should be miserable, and that has that mindset. And even kind of sometimes there's an atmosphere around the gym, and it's like, oh, you're cutting for a fight, you know, you should be weak and miserable and everything. And of course, there will come a time, depending on how much you're trying to cut, closer to the match, that you might be a little bit hungry or something like that. But there's no way you should be starting out. And then people also make the mistake of starting into camp kind of already on empty. They kind of do a little mini cut before they start into camp, and it just makes for not an enjoyable camp, or not a good performance. But with that in mind, then tell me, what was your worst ever weight cut? Do you have a particularly bad one that stands out?
Yeah, I think I mean probably first time I fought at 125. Like I walk around like between 145 and like 148 right now. I think like that was the first time, and it was kind of hard. Like I was kind of it was hard for me to get fights. I mean, it's hard for girls to get fights in general, I guess, but I was kind of just like, oh, I'll fight 125 to 135, and then like just 125s kept coming up. And this is pounds, sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's like 57 kilos, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So between kind of 57 and 61 is what you were kind of been open
yeah,
to. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first like actual fight that I did, which was March of 2021, I just kind of like started my like cut in January, and I was just kind of like trying to lose weight, but I was literally just eating like vegetables. Like I was just eating salads, like no meat. I really wasn't eating like any protein or anything. I was just like, sorry, my cat's like hanging on my leg right now. Okay. So yeah, I just was like eating vegetables. I wasn't eating breakfast. I was like, would eat a small dinner and then like go to bed. Like I found myself just trying to like take naps and like sleep more so I wouldn't like think about food. And, all my training sessions were very like they were just like grueling. I was so tired, and I typically would train at night for like I would do Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu for like 3 hours, and after Muay Thai I would just be like so tired for Jiu-Jitsu, like had no strength in my rolls and everything. And then I think like I had managed to lose weight. Like I had managed to lose like 10 pounds or something. So I like went into my fight week at like 133, which is crazy. Like I don't think I should ever weigh that much actually, because
Yeah.
I'm so tall. I was just like skin and bones. And then, and then I did the sauna on top of that, and I was just completely emaciated. And then on top of that, after like I weighed in, I didn't like fuel myself properly. I just ate like a bunch of crap. Like I had like Oreos and like, like candy, just like stuff that I wasn't eating for a couple months.
Yeah.
And then I remember just having like terrible stomach pains. And then when I had the actual fight, I was just like so tired. And I was like, oh, this is just how it is. Your adrenaline, you just get this tired. And it wasn't until I started working with you and I had my fight this past August that like in the, I guess like before I went out, warming up for that fight, I was like, damn, I feel so strong and I feel like really not tired and I feel really great. And then even in the fight, I was like, I just want to keep going. It ended early, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like totally different. But anyway, sorry, that was like a long answer, but that was definitely my worst cut.
And it was just basically not knowing any better. It wasn't like you didn't get any terrible advice from anybody. You literally were just like, okay, I'll diet down and then I'll not eat and then maybe I'll perform. But it is a big thing. I see you touched on something that is like a bugbear of mine with fighters, that after they weigh in, they start into their treating themselves because it's the end of camp. And like they kind of treat the weigh in like it's the competition, and if they've made weight they feel like they've won, and then they forget, actually I have an actual fight tomorrow, but I do find that happens. The more extreme the cut was, the more likely that is to happen. And also afterwards, the bounce back after the fight is always a lot worse because of course if you've restricted everything and been hungry for 12 weeks, I mean, it's not going to be good for you on the other side mentally, but even physically, because your body will want, that's why you're wanting all that stuff, because your body was trying to get the calories in to recover,
Yeah. I noticed also, like I had this weird, I don't know if it was like the 2 weeks like after I would fight or whatever, I would have like such a weird sensitive stomach. Like I would have almost like I just had indigestion with like everything I was eating, and I just felt like crap. And then I also, this is so psychotic, but I know that other people have done it because I've talked to people about it. And like I would, during my like fight camp, I would like lay in bed at night and like look on my Instagram Explore page of like videos of like cookies and like cake. Like it was so weird, like because I couldn't eat it.
Like that would be torture to me when I was cutting.
Yeah, it was torture, but it was also like comforting, like weirdly. I don't know. It was so weird. I don't do that anymore, but it was like a weird obsession.
I've heard like it's a very 50-50 split with people on that one, where there's some people like to look at food, look at other people eating food, and then there's people like me that wants to ignore that anything sweet exists, But
yeah, I was the opposite. I would even like bake cookies and stuff like for my husband and just like not be able to enjoy them. It was weird.
That's self-torture, like that's self-harm.
Yeah.
What I used to do towards the end when I kind of was getting my wits about me a bit more and I was kind of coming around to cutting properly without compromising myself, was I used to make a list in the notes on my phone. If I wanted something, I'd be like, okay, I'll add it to the list and I'll have it after the fight. And then most of the stuff, like I remember one time putting Jaffa cakes down. Do you know Jaffa cakes? Like dark chocolate and orange biscuits. Dark chocolate and orange is not my thing at all. I don't like them. And I was like, this is such an indication of how tired you are, that these have become appetizing to you.
Yes, know? Yeah. I can relate to that too. There would be like weird things that I would be like, ooh, I'm going to eat that as soon as I can. And then I'd be like, I'm not gonna freaking eat that. Like, I don't like that
Yeah.
ever. Like, why do I want that right now?
And that's my thing with fighters now. I always say to them, if there's something like that, I'm always like, if we plan correctly, so if you don't come to me 2 weeks before you're due to make weight, like if we have a good camp lead in, we can have bits of stuff along the way, because oftentimes just having a bit of the thing solves the problem. Because I say to people, I'd rather you went over on your calories in one day than by having the thing you wanted, rather than you spend, if you want, I'm sure you've done this as well, you spend 3 or 4 days thinking about this thing that you want, and in the meantime you're picking on little bits and here and there, and you actually wind up eating way more calories and being way less satisfied than if you had to say it's just a slice of cake. If you had just had a slice of cake 3 days ago, this would be done and over with, and you'd be happy, and the world would not be ended.
Right. Yeah, I kind of dealt with that a lot during this past summer when I was cutting weight for that fight in August. I'd go to the beach a lot with my family and stuff, and like there are a lot of people, a lot of them have like birthdays in the summer, and there'd be like cake and ice cream and stuff. And it was really difficult, like just not eating whatever was sitting out. But like you said, there were a couple nights I remember I was like, I'm just gonna have like a piece of cake, and it was satisfying enough, and it was fine. And then I wasn't like sitting there picking on things and being like, oh, I wish I could have this, I wish I could have that, meanwhile just like actually eating it, but eating too much of it or whatever.
Exactly. That all of the picking adds up to 3,000 calories, and you still haven't had what you
Yeah,
wanted. But
exactly,
I think
exactly.
oftentimes that's a mindset shift, and that's something that I work on with clients, because, and it's hard to describe that in an Instagram post, but it's that idea about food and being emotionally attached to like good food, bad food, and judging yourself for having a piece of cake in camp versus just it being a factual thing. It's a nice, like I was kind of say, less nutritious snack, a piece of cake, but it's really not the end of the world. And the activity level that you ladies are putting out, honestly, a slice of cake is really it's not gonna be the end of the world at all. I mean,
Right.
if you were away a day or two, I might be like, Gianna, come on,
Yeah.
put it away till the
Yeah.
weekend. But like camp, it's fine,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think that was when we were talking before the holidays and everything, I think that was like something that I needed to hear, even though I know that, like, it was just something I needed to hear again, because obviously you're around all these indulgent foods around the holidays and everything, and there's parties and drinking and all that, and just to kind of like talk it through with you, and just be like, okay, it's gonna happen, you're gonna have these things, and like just have them and let yourself, and then we'll worry about like the weight cut come January, and it's been fine.
Like especially the holidays or any special events like that with family, like you work full time, you're pursuing a hobby that you enjoy. Like we can't lose sight of what's important in life, and of course eating nutritiously to be healthy into your old age, and you never want to miss weight for a fight, you want to fuel your body well. But I often see people they compromise. I say you're compromising your mental health in pursuit of physical health, and that's not a good idea, because you have to strike the balance between the two, and like kind of try and live in that 80-20 rule. And like I said, of course, if we're under pressure a week or two out, I'm going to be like, please, let's just tighten it up for these 2 weeks. But that's not going to be the end of the world either. Likewise, a week over the holidays with your family of maybe overindulging a little bit is also not going to be the end of the world.
Right.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing, but it's very common among female athletes anyway, and it's something that I come up and kind of chat people through a lot. And people, like, as you know, come to me thinking I'm going to be telling them about meals, and we're actually talking about their attitude towards food,
Yeah.
fueling the body for training, and just adjusting their expectations of themselves.
Yeah, it's funny. Like a lot of my friends are like, "Oh, like what kind of like food is having you eat?" And I was like, "Whatever I want." Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny. Like if if I'm going somewhere and people know I'm in a fight camp, they're like, "Oh, like you can't eat," and I'm like, "No, like I can't. I can." They're like, "Oh, what can you eat?" I'm like, "I can eat whatever I want. It's just I have, certain like guidelines
Yeah,
that I'm following. That's all."
the pillar.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like a very simple thing, a lot of female fighters don't eat enough protein, so I'm always like, prioritize your protein. So I give the example of, if I were going out to get pizza, I would just get 2 meats on the pizza, so now I know the pizza has more protein than if I hadn't have got 2 meats and the cheese on. So then that's okay, that's fine, and that's like me being a little bit conscious but not allowing it to ruin my meal out or enter into my psyche.
Right.
But it's something as well, oftentimes, and I'm always very clear about it, that people expect kind of meal plans, and I really don't like that, because I gave a talk last night for the gym that I run, just a general nutrition talk, and I was given examples of protein, examples of carbs, examples of fats, but it was all food that I eat, and I was like, this is why I don't make meal plans, because like there's probably a meat that you love that I haven't mentioned because I just don't eat it, you know. And I think
Right.
especially we're a great example of you. Well, you come in, you were someone with a lot of data, which I love, but I was like, okay, Gianna, this is what I want from your day. Go and figure it out in the foods that you eat. And you were like, okay, perfect. And then that way, when we're not working together, you're not back to square one.
Right. Right, exactly. And it definitely took like a lot of I mean, not a lot. It just took me like a little while, like a little bit to kind of like figure out like what things have a lot of protein and you know what's like less I don't know, it like took me a little bit of figuring out and like trying things. And also I've tried like such like new foods that I wasn't eating before, which has been like really fun.
Yeah.
Like it's fun like being able to like cook new things and like getting inspired that way. And like I don't know, like I went to like a random like specialty meat deli a couple weeks ago and I got like liverwurst, and I like never, I don't know, never really desired that, and I was like, I'll try it, and now I love it.
Brilliant. But even for your husband, I'm sure he's like, oh, thank God we're having normal meals, and like your husband like losing 15 pounds every time you have a fight coming.
Yes, I'm like, and you know, obviously like that affected my mood too, so it was just like miserable to be around. I'm like, whatever, I can only eat broccoli, like go order takeout with your friends or something. And like I would just be so, you know, so miserable. So yeah, he's definitely much happier.
I know, but sometimes when I get consultation forms in from people, it will say on it like, I don't like mushrooms, and I'm like, you know, they really think I'm going to force them to eat things that, you know, well, you're never going to make weight if you don't eat mushrooms.
Oh my God, that's funny.
But it's just the atmosphere we're surrounded by and the creation of the cutting weight. So it's nice to get someone to increase their calories and have them to cut down way better. And then even we know your muscle mass is going. Your genes love to build muscles once we feed them. Like
yes, oh my God, it's just so crazy. Like I don't know. I mean, I've sent you those pictures before, but just looking at myself at the weight that I am now versus like the same weight last year, it's like my body's just completely different. And you know, I was still lifting and like running and everything, but I was just like not eating. I just wasn't eating right, and I wasn't eating enough, and I was eating the wrong things, and I was sad like, about it.
Your muscles just begging for a bit of food to get them going. And it comes up a fair bit of people are like, or what I love is sometimes when the measurements are coming in, like the hips and the waist will be going down, but the biceps will be going up.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
Got like great guns getting into the ring, you know.
Yeah.
But that energy and the mood thing, it's just so essential. And like I had another striker that I started working with, and she was having 3 and 4 naps a day, and then a little while into working together, she was like, I have a big complaint, I'm not able to nap, I keep trying to nap and I can't nap. And that's because actually your body has energy, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, I love my naps, but because I'm just like, you know, working out in the morning and then at night, so it is nice to squeeze one in, but it's not like to the point where I was before. Like I wasn't like, oh, I need to sleep, I'm a zombie, like I'm a corpse. I'm just like, no, I could use a little cat nap, 20 minutes, and then I'm good to go.
And I would never begrudge anyone a nap. I'm like a professional napper. If I have 5 minutes, I can make it happen.
Yeah, same.
My husband's like, how do you do it? I'm like, oh, I just do.
I know, I'm the same way.
And then, so all of your fights, so you traveled abroad to a competition recently to the Iascas, and that obviously went really well.
Yes. Yeah. That was in Germany in October. 2 divisions. I wasn't planning on doing the 2 divisions, but there ended up not being too many girls in my Muay Thai division, so I did first time doing K1 rules. Which was awesome. Yeah, I won both divisions, so that was really, really cool. And then I'm going to Thailand for the same organization in March, so that'll be awesome.
Yeah, and then so now we're 2 weeks out from your first MMA fight, right?
Yes, so excited.
Been trying to get an MMA fight. We've had a few matches and they fell through at the last minute a few times, right?
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, that's been been the trend, but this one, fingers crossed, this one seems to be still happening.
Well, hopefully at this stage, yeah. So that will be really exciting. And you've been doing MMA sparring and stuff, I suppose.
Yeah. It's funny, like, I mean, I've been doing that, like, whenever I think there's a fight coming up, it's like I start doing it and then it like falls through and then I stop doing it. So now I've been consistently like sparring, training for MMA for the past, I guess for the past like 6 weeks probably. So yeah, I feel pretty good about it. It's obviously like new, so there is, a variable where I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen? But yeah, I'm really excited.
Hopefully it's that exciting
Yeah,
news though, you know.
it
And
is
how
totally.
found this MMA sparring versus the just kickboxing K1 sparring?
I love it. It's so much fun. It's challenging for sure because there's things in Muay Thai that you can't wrap your leg around to sweep and stuff. There's like just things that you can't do. Yeah, that I'm like, oh wait, I can do that now. So it's kind of like it's a weird switch that I have to turn on in my mind like while I'm doing it. And I'm like, wait, I can do these things that I can't normally do. And then I'm like, and then it's so much fun.
I remember in my first MMA fight, because I never done K1, I just was kickboxing, so it was kicks and punches above the waist, basically. And I was in my first MMA fight, and the girl threw a knee to my tummy, and I was like, I can knee.
Yeah.
So then I start throwing them, but it was.
I know. There's like so many like new weapons that you can use, which is cool. And I'm excited for, I feel like, I've been doing jiu-jitsu tournaments and like just, Nagas and grappling industries and stuff like that. But I'm excited for people to like see that I can do jiu-jitsu in like an actual, fighting environment.
Yeah. When I seen that you were a purple belt, I was like, because I think you've done one jiu-jitsu tournament when I was working with you, but as you said, you don't really need any help for that. So I wasn't really that involved. But I was like, she has a purple belt. So why has she not had an MMA fight? And you were like, I can't get one. That's why I had one.
I know.
But I know. When I fought MMA, I had done about 5 jiu-jitsu classes. Like I was like,
oh my God, really? Well, that seems to be like, it seems like a lot of amateur MMA fighters like don't have a ton of jiu-jitsu. I don't know. At least from what I've noticed, they don't have like a ton of jiu-jitsu. So it seems like my jiu-jitsu is like a little high for the amateur level, I guess. I don't know.
Really good. But you've got a good, consistent, like 6 years behind you of all of the martial arts. So that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And then it's just the adding things together, the using of the both things. Because, obviously when you're standing and you're striking, like I found, if there was a thread of a takedown, I couldn't really settle into my punches because I didn't want to be too heavy in my legs. And then that adds a new level to it, which is really exciting also because you now have to be aware of that and you can't. And I think you see that a lot in MMA matches when you see people coming in and thinking, oh, this guy is like a world champion striker. And then he's just not boxing and people are like, why is he not letting his hands go? And I'm like, I know why.
Yeah.
Because the first time he's had to worry about being taken down. And
right, exactly.
Settles into his strike and he's going to be taken down, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's funny. Like I'll be training with like my coach or whatever and like, or whoever. And, we're doing, striking or whatever. And we get to the ground and then I'm like, I'm like focusing on like getting a submission and it's like, wait, I can punch you while I'm trying to do this. This is awesome.
This is my thing because my husband's like pure jiu-jitsu. He's so much better than I am. He's been doing it so much longer. But when we're rolling and he's got me in some position, I'm like, if I could punch you now, this is and he's like,
yeah, it's funny. That's like my mindset now too. Like when I'm rolling with people and they like sit to like play open guard, I'm like, come on, like, or they're trying to like put me in a leg lock. I'm like, I would just be like punching you right now. This isn't real.
What I used to do was like get top side control and I trap their arm with a view to then just starting to ground and pound. But I was actually basically giving them a sweep. I was like, oh well, here's my leg now.
Yeah.
Like, damn it. But no.
Yeah.
So that's the fun and games, and that's what I found is because I came from competing in kickboxing and boxing. And then I done a jiu-jitsu competition and I was like, that was really fun, but it didn't light me up nearly as much as getting into the ring did, So that's when I was like, oh, maybe I'll try MMA. So, and that did. But then also I think, as you said, like it's something that has to be taken very seriously to step into a cage with someone or step into a ring with someone. It's a different ask,
Yeah, Yeah, no, totally. I know that's why I've always felt like with jujitsu tournaments, I've been like, no, whatever
Yeah.
day I'll do it. Like I'll do those like on the fly, like last minute if I can. But yeah, with fights, it's more like, I don't know, it's more of like a journey, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, from a like the meditative perspective, which is what I enjoy about competing, it's very similar in that you have to be very present in the moment, and that's what I chase in competition. It's kind of like it's just me and that person, and I got to go, and whatever's going on in the background, if I focus here, I'm going to lose. So
Yeah.
I really that element of it, but it's just kind of the dangerous outcome. They're just that small little bit different, and then the effect on your day to day life, like you work full time, you've got a husband, you need to be able to just get on with your
I know.
life. Although even now in our jiu-jitsu academy, because the IBJJF Euros are going on like as we speak, the last few weeks I've been in training, and I'm like, people are just like Euros sharp, and I'm like, I'm just trying to stay fit. Like,
Yeah,
stop.
right.
This is just my cardio because I don't want to go for a run. I'm just here to stop
I know.
killing.
It's like this is my last like harder training week before the fight. And just even like yesterday in sparring, I'm like, all right, like beating the crap out of every people, and they're just like, I just want to work out, like chill out. I'm like, I don't know, it's like my last hard week. I'm really in it right now.
But that's what your training partners are for. There's times when you're as they say, you're the nail, and other times you're the hammer. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. In a couple of weeks, you'll be like, guys, I'm just getting back into it. Leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Sparring partners? Are you sparring mainly with men?
Yes, yeah, mainly men. I mean, for this camp, I've been like trying to go to other gyms and like find girls to spar MMA with. So it's been pretty good. Like I've been able to find a couple girls. But yeah, my gym's mostly guys. So there's a couple guys that are like more my weight, but most of them are heavier than me. So it's fine. Like I don't have a preference either way. I feel like when I'm training with like heavier guys and stronger guys, it's only gonna make me better like in my fight. So
And you don't know any different, basically, I guess.
right.
And what I used to find it in kickboxing in particular, because it was the same situation for me. Then when I got into the ring with a girl, and like if I landed a jab and she kind of moved back with it, I was like, oh, okay, this is really good, because she's the same weight as me, and B, a woman, because as we know, I'm constantly talking about it, but like even a man that weighs the same as you, he's got so much more muscle mass than
For
you,
sure.
and his strength level is just crazy,
Yeah.
so it can be dangerous. And then unfortunately then sometimes it's like men just aren't really trying to hit you, and that's not helpful to you either. It's very special for the male training partners that can get that right, where they can beat you up but without being mean,
Yes.
making you have, they're pointing out the mistakes you make, but they're not being mean or just overexerting their strength on it.
Yeah, totally. I definitely have a good group at my gym that have that like good balance, which is awesome. But yeah, it's frustrating if you are like sparring or rolling with a guy and they're just like not doing anything, and you're like, come on, like I'm trained, like I fight, like you can
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
on a little bit. But yeah, I have a good group of guys. And I also try like uh there's some sparring events like in the area where gyms will have like women's sparring, which is like really great. We had one, I went to one a couple weeks ago, and there was just like so many good, like really talented girls, and I got so many good rounds in, and I was like, damn, if I could spar like this every week, like I would get so good so fast with all of these girls. But unfortunately, everybody kind of lives all over the place, and it's not possible.
There does seem to be a good crew of female, like out there, Muay Thai fighters, over there where you are, because there's I see a good crew of them getting together. I don't know. I obviously follow you, and I follow a few other girls from there. And when I see the ladies sparring days, I'm like, it's just really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, there were so many. There was like, I don't know, probably like 50 girls, like the one that we went to a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it's cool. And I guess being close to New York is good too. There's like a lot of talent in New York. So it's nice just kind of being around all of that as well.
Yeah. And do you find, so I guess when you meet up with other girls, there's generally talk about, if you got a fight coming up, or what do you weigh, what do you cut, blah, blah, blah. Like, do you find that effect of like weight cutting as a female having to make weight is very prevalent?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, usually someone has a fight coming up, and that's like the first thing that comes up. It's like, well, weight are you fighting at? Like, how's your weight?
Yeah.
Like, but it's nice because more and more I have been hearing, either overhearing conversations or just being involved in conversations where girls are like, oh, but I got a nutritionist, and like I'm eating so much more now, and like I hear that more and more, and it's like really, really awesome to hear that girls aren't just like starving themselves all
Yeah.
the time.
So besides it just not being enjoyable, and that you're pursuing enjoyment with your hobby, it's just so unhealthy and so bad for you. Like the prevalence of, you know, periods going missing in female combat athletes is, it's crazy, you know. And I'm noticing as well an increase in people, depressed female athletes coming to me that are depressed. And you know, you're wondering how far down the dieting and the binge restrict cycle were they before that happened, you know. Like, was it exacerbated by dieting and making weight and all these body image issues we have? And it's hard because we're surrounded by like smaller is better, leaner is better, you know. It's like the fitness industry has somehow infiltrated the fight industry, and it's like bodybuilder physique. But like, go to a bodybuilding show and ask a bodybuilder to do anything cardiovascular for 30 seconds, like, dead. Like those guys. And like, I lived with a bodybuilder for a time. I love it. It's very admirable aesthetic sport, but like, those guys are breaking a sweat, like, tensing their muscles on the stage for so long for the judges to look. They're not, it's not conducive to performing in an actual physical altercation
Right,
with another.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, just like, and I think like longevity was like a big thing for me too. Like, I was like, I can't just keep, if I want to like have like a fight career for some amount of time. Like, I'm 33, I like don't have a ton of
Yeah,
time, like
yeah,
probably. So, you know, I'm like, if I want to keep doing this, like this is not the way. Like, there needs to be a better way. Like, I can't just keep eating like nothing all the time. And you can tell like my skin was bad, like my skin wasn't as good. Like, I looked like I had like, you know, I was just like sunken in, like, I don't know, I just looked unhealthy. I look like younger now, honestly.
yeah. I know, it's so funny. Like, I have a fighter at the minute, Cartinia, and she's again amazing lady, but she was the same, and she fully just did not trust me. So she came to me, she's like, I want to cut this weight, and I was like, okay, I increase your calories. And she's like, no, I told you I want to lose weight, you know. And I was like, yeah, but you know. And I was like, please just bear with me. And it took 3 weeks, and then eventually she was like, all right, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
Okay. But she's now, unfortunately, she had a fight fall through, but we're actually doing a mock fight week, which is really exciting. So we can collect the data
Oh,
anyway.
nice.
So we're doing all the protocols. So when she does has a fight, she knows what to expect. But she just done a reel the other day, and it was like a list of all the things that actually eating well has affected them, besides what she
Oh,
weighs, you know. And it was,
I did. I saw that. Yeah.
yeah, really good, because she's like, her skin, and like that, she's like, I don't need to
Yeah.
use filters anymore.
Yes, yeah, I know. That's so
Yeah,
awesome.
I know, but
That's
it's
amazing. Yeah, actually, I met her at a box sparring event a couple months ago. I think I told you.
yeah.
But we were talking about you for like 20 minutes. We were like, oh my God, we're so not hungry anymore. This is so great.
You get to eat. I get to
Yeah.
eat. I know. That's right. Well, before we wrap up, I guess just good luck when your fights.
Thanks.
You know, if you were talking to, say, your teenage self, and you were getting into, you know, fighting or just any weight-based sport, but fighting, so it could be any of the martial arts. What do you think? What do you think we need to be telling teenagers right now, or young
Um,
fighters? And someone just going for their first fight, they could be 40. You know.
yeah, think, I think just like making sure that you feel like that you just feel strong and like you feel your best. Like, I think that's more important than cutting down to the lowest possible weight that you can. Like, if that means fighting at a heavier weight because you feel stronger and like more ready, then that's what you should do. Like, I think looking back, maybe probably would have been better for me to like ease my way into like doing a lower weight cut. Like, maybe I should have fought at 135 or 140 first. And like, if that was proving to like the girl was too much stronger than me or something, then think about going down in weight. But I definitely think like trying as close to your like most like
Yeah.
strong self, like being your
Yeah.
strongest self or whatever.
And people think when you say like just fight at your walk around weight that you're talking about your kind of out of shape weight. But we're not talking about your post Christmas weight. We're talking about your, I'm consistently training, I'm consistently eating well, that type of weight. And then maybe a little bit either side of that is probably a good place to be. But it's such valuable information because it's something that I see come up all the time with people. They just think the lighter weight category is better, and often it stems from maybe a loss, so they lose and they're like, I'm in the wrong weight class, I should go to the weight class below. And I'm like, really? Because you know, are you sure it was the weight class? You know, could we be more better fueled in this weight class? And especially in the kind of multi-day weigh-ins, obviously, and the jiu-jitsu, the same day weigh-in and onto the mat with a few fight tournament format, you just need to be at a comfortable weight, because I think the fed fighter will always win. So if there's a chance you're going to have 3 or 4 fights in a day, you might, if you've been under fueling yourself, you might get through the first or the second fight. But your fights are getting harder as you progress through the tournament, and you're running out of your fuel. So that's the time when it shows up. Because I often find the skill discrepancies aren't that big when you reach a certain level. And then the edge that you can give yourself is like a good camp, fueling yourself well, and then even your fight day prep with your food and stuff as well, like you said, not dropping the ball after you weigh in, digging Oreos.
And I just a little thing on like the weight discrepancies. Like the last jiu-jitsu tournament I did, there was nobody in my division, which that's another reason why I don't like bother cutting weight for jiu-jitsu tournaments, because there's not a lot of purple belts at my weight, so I tend to either have to like go up in weight or skill or whatever. But anyway, I had to go up in both weight and skill. Like I just did 2 divisions, so I had to go against a brown belt who was my weight, but then a purple belt who was, I think she was like 170 pounds or something, and I was in the, you know, I think it was like 138 or 140. And yeah, she was strong and she was heavier than me, but like I still held my own. I mean, I didn't win the match, but like it wasn't that insane. Like I think people think like 5 pounds is like so much, they're so much stronger, but it's really, I don't know, it's really not, you know.
In jiu-jitsu anyway, myself and the girls have this rule that like if unless someone is 15 kilos heavier than you, if it's female to female, you can't really complain if you're saying they're too strong or they're too heavy. It's like 15 kilos is about okay, and then maybe if someone is 20 kilos, which is like, you know, 42, 43 pounds, then maybe you might have to say to them, okay, I'm a tiny person and you're not so tiny, so just it easy. But yeah, I find it like we have in our academy, we have a really great number of teenage girls and young girls, and rolling with them is teaching me how it feels for the boys trying to roll with us, you know, because totally. These girls have so much skill, but obviously I could just like take them off of my head if I'm in a trial, you know, like. And you're trying to find the balance of, okay, she's done everything right, so I should probably give her this submission, because if I were a girl, she would have submitted me, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was rolling with like I don't even know how old she was, maybe like 10, 11-year-old last night, and like she got me in a triangle, and like you said, I could have probably just lifted her up and like pulled her off of my head, but it was a really good triangle, so I let her have it.
Like I was one a couple of weeks ago, and she hadn't moved my arm across, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to tap, but if she moves my arm across, that would be it, and I would tap. And then she moved it, and I was like, okay, I'm tapping.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But it's exciting to see, and that kind of idea of leaving your ego for your sparring. But I think women are way better at that. From my experience, it's probably a vast generalization, but I think we're very much able to really give it to each other in sparring and then laugh about it afterwards, totally. You know, which I love. And I find that even here on Instagram, the community we have on here, they're so supportive. Like girls are just so supportive. It's like even 2 people that I'm working with might be fighting each other, and they're like, yeah, you should work with Lindsay and make sure you're doing this, you know, and keep anything secret from each other, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's great. I agree. I feel that way too.
I think probably coming into a male dominated sport, we're kind of all looking out for each other, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have to.
No one else will. Well, appreciate your time coming on and chatting to me. And obviously you and I are in touch a lot over the next 2 weeks, but publicly, best of luck in your fight.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Will we away to watch
it? Again?
Is it going to be streamed?
Yeah, it is. So I'll post like a link on my Instagram when I get it.
Brilliant. And it will be well, it might be middle of the night for me, but
it's true. Yeah, it might be. Watch it the next morning.
with the UFC. I can't go onto Instagram. I'm like, I need to just catch up on the fights and then I'll go online.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so true. It's funny.
But I have one or two friends that I've blacklisted because they just can't help themselves, and they're like, "Did you see that fight? I can't believe it." And I'm like, even that's a spoiler to me. Like, don't even say nothing until you've given me the go. I've given you the go ahead to say, "Have watched. Let's talk."
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
one time my husband's mom spoiled a Conor McGregor when he lost.
Oh no.
Or
oh my God. Your husband's mom, that's so funny.
Like, she's 70, so you're like, well, maybe I won't shout at her, but like, we went upstairs and she was like, "Can you believe Conor McGregor lost?" And we were like,
You're like, God, no.
We just walked in the door and you've ruined.
Oh my God, that's so annoying. That's so funny though.
Like 5 words, we were like, oh. But like, it was just so funny because like she's like, "Wow, I thought you would have known," and we were.
That's hilarious. Oh my God.
It's obviously on Facebook. Do you know what I mean? Just like,
yeah, for sure. She just saw like someone posted it and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make conversation with them."
yeah, it was a conversation started where day ruined for us.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, well, I'll let you go and try and squeeze in a nap before you have to do more work.
Yeah, right.
What?
Cool.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Gianna.
Lindsay. I'll talk to you later.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.